I saw Willie D do a video on this, and I said, you know what? I gotta throw my 2 cents in this as well. So, in case you don't know who this man's name is Jonathan Sutherland, and he is a student athlete at Penn State. And ironically, it's Penn State. And he plays football for their team. And one day he received this letter from a person by the name of, what is his name? David Peterson, who graduated from the school back in 1966. And I'm going to read to you what the letter said. And I can just tell by reading it that it came from a palm-colored individual who can't mind their business and always has something to say when it pertains to us. But this guy wrote a scathing letter to Jonathan Sutherland attacking his locks. And y'all pretty much already know where I'm ahead with this, but I'm going to go ahead and read the article and then I'm going to read the letter. It says people are pushing for Penn State University to take action after one of its alums sent a controversial letter to a star ball player calling his locks awful and disgusting. In a letter addressed to team captain Jonathan Sutherland, 1966 Penn State alumnus David Peterson made a point to denounce the player's hair, saying he misses the clean-cut young men and women from his days in college. Well, you know what? I'm almost certain that during his days in college, which means it says he graduated in 1966, which means he had to have gone to the college at like 1962. I'm very certain that college was lily white at the time. So when he says clean cut young men and women from when he was there, we know he's talking about people that look like him. He told on himself. Because I'm almost certain that there were little to no black people there, and if they were, I'm very sure they didn't have locks because back then locks wasn't a thing. He goes on to say, don't you have parents or a girlfriend who told you those shoulder length dreadlocks look disgusting and are certainly not attractive? First off, why are you worrying about another man's attractiveness, quote unquote, due to his hair? Now I'm looking at you with the side eye. And then he's going to say, don't your parents or your girlfriend. Why are you worried about what his parents think or what his girlfriend thinks? Clearly, they don't think like you because he still has them. See, this is right here. This is what I think I left this as a comment on Willie D's channel under this video. These palm colored individuals hate us so much that the reason why they hate us so much is because we never truly assimilated into their quote unquote culture, to the American culture, to the palm colored American culture. And we never would. And the truth be told, we never could. And we never will. A lot of other groups can do that, but we could not because we were not allowed to. And then we was like, you know what, we're just going to go ahead and do our own thing. And when we do, they can't stand it. Look at that video I did about Ben Shapiro when he was talking about rap is not a genre and he hates it. But he told on himself when he says a good chunk of white Americans are listening to it. He told on himself with that. He never had a criticism of hip hop and rap until white people got a hold of it. That's really what his gripe was with it. Not that it wasn't a genre in his eyes or wasn't real music. It's the fact that white people got a hold of it and they like it and purchase more of it, to be honest, more than we do. So when he says clean cut young men and women of his day, he's talking about people that look like him, palm colored. He wasn't talking about us. That lets you know what type of person he is. Then he says a picture of the letter was first posted to Twitter by one of the Southern's teammates, who captioned by saying, explain to me how this isn't racist. Now I'm going to go ahead and read the letter. And he starts off the letter saying, we are Penn proud. And he wrote that at the top in blue caps. Dear Jonathan, my wife and I are proud older graduates of Penn State. We all follow Penn State sports: football, wrestling, volleyball, gymnastics, basketball. We love it all. See, he had to introduce the letter in a very complimentary way where it seems like he's not about to go in on him. So he has to give him a soft blow before he goes for the hardcore punch. I played all the sports in my younger days, still play full court basketball into my 50s. Loved the competition, but never had the size or the talent to reach your level. Desire was there. Now he just told on himself again. He said, I love the competition, but never had the size or the talent to reach your level. He just basically admitted that he was a small fry who could never make it to the levels of that of a black man, whether back in his day or even today. He just told on himself again. See, I'm glad that I can actually analyze these things and see it, because to the average eye, they will overlook what he just said. He goes on to say, though the athletes of today are certainly superior to those in my day, meaning all superior to you no matter what, and the black athletes, I'm sure of your day, were superior to you as well. We miss the clean-cut young men and women from those days. Watching the Idaho game on TV, we couldn't help but notice, and then he says, your awful hair. So you mean to tell me, while all these guys are running up and down the field with a football and tackling each other, the thing that distracted you the most were his locks that were coming out of his helmet? Are y'all hearing this? That's what distracted him. And he said his wife and I. Now, granted, his wife probably could have said the same thing, but then it could be a small chance that she didn't say anything, and he put that in there to try to make it seem like it was a growing concern that was more than just him, as if he was had someone like an agreeing party, like he didn't want to be left out on that limb alone. He could have said my wife and I. It could have just been him. He says, surely there must be mirrors in the locker room. And he wrote that and put an exclamation point after that, as if he was yelling. So basically, he's trying to tell him that when he says, surely there must be mirrors in the locker room, he's basically saying, have you looked at yourself in the mirror lately, realized that those things are awful and tacky and disgusting? Why don't you just go ahead and cut them and look clean cut like the prim and proper guys like myself back in the 60s? He says, don't you have parents or a girlfriend who've told you those shoulder-length dreadlocks look disgusting and are certainly not attractive? That part got me right there. He said that they are disgusting and certainly not attractive. Motherfucker, you're not the one that has to do the locks. You're not the one who has to twist them or clean them or be around him all the time. So what is it to you? See, he's using the hair thing as a cover up for his racism. Like, you can tell this was written by a palm-colored person. You can tell it was. Especially when they say when they graduated. 1966 from Penn State to PWI. Oh, that's most definitely a palm-colored person. Then listen to this. We congratulate you on your game against Pitt, but you need to remember you represent all Penn Staters, both current and those alumni from years past. So he basically just gave him a compliment and then undercut him again by saying you represent all the people of Penn State from today and of the past. We would welcome the reappearance of dress codes for athletes. This guy wants to rewrite an entire dress code because he saw this man's locks coming out of his helmet. And just because he doesn't like it, he wants to rearrange a whole dress code. On a collegiate level, might I add. Now I'm going to show you another picture of what is his name? Jonathan Sutherland. Here's another picture of him. Let me see if I can scroll this down a little bit. Okay. You can tell he got a shape up, like a lineup, and this looks like maybe a photo that's taken maybe for an ID, or the pictures that they take of the players while they're dressed in professional attire. Where in there does this look tacky? See, that palm-colored bastard was so offended by this guy and his hair. This is the same thing that has kept a lot of people and a lot of black people from getting jobs. in corporate America because you have locks or because you wear your hair natural and things like that. Why do you think a lot of black women, in particular back in the day, wore those wigs? Those wigs that it was styled for black women, but if it was colored a different way, it could be worn by a white woman. And see, the thing is, because they own corporate America, they pretty much enforce these rules, but they usually only enforce it mainly to us. This guy's talking about wanting to try to change the damn dress code because he doesn't like how his hair is styled off one person. Yet you have all these white players out here who hair be looking like a damn mop, and he doesn't say a thing. Like I said, he's hiding behind the hair to hide behind his racism. He goes on to say, "You will certainly be playing on Sunday in the future, but we have stopped watching NFL due to the disgusting tattoos, awful hair, and immature antics at the end zone." Y'all cannot tell me that this guy is not talking about black men and black players, black athletes. Let me read that again. "We have stopped watching the NFL due to the disgusting tattoos, awful hair, and immature antics in the end zone. Players should act as though they've been there before." Then he signs it off as "for the glory, Dave Peterson." This guy definitely comes from the Jim Crow stock. All of this because of hair. And then he wrote about at the end, "You will certainly go to the NFL one day, but we decided to stop watching it because of the disgusting tattoos, awful hair, and end zone antics." He's talking about black players. He's saying it without actually saying black in the letter. He can take that letter and shove it up his ass. That's what I would tell him. If I was Jonathan Sutherland, I would get on camera and tell him where he can put his funky ass letter. But according to some articles, people have clapped back at him and basically said that the letter was racist. Like, we already knew that it came from a palm colored guy. We already knew that. It was no surprise there. But like I said, it's stuff like what he wrote in that letter that is which kept a lot of black people out of corporate America because of the whole hair thing. Crazy because California just recently passed the law, if I'm not mistaken, to have what was it I'm looking for? To have natural hair not be discriminated against when it comes to looking for employment. The fact they had to pass that as a law in 2019 says a lot. And like I said, it goes back to my original point. The reason why palm color does not like us is because we never fully assimilated into their culture. And we never could. One, we were never allowed to. And two, nor do we want to. We're fine doing our own thing. I've always said that black people, especially ADO West, are the trendsetters of the world. What we do over here literally reflects to other nations around the world on a cultural thing. Even some palm colored people have adopted, well, stolen is more like it, our culture, and bastardized it. But if this guy went to school back in the 60s, I'm willing to bet that he has to be definitely in AARP range right now, which means he will, well, let's just say his time is ticking. His time is almost up. And people like Jonathan Sutherland, his time is just beginning. Y'all let me know what y'all think about this down in the comments, and I'll talk to you in the next one.